Hello, everyone. I am actually pre-recording this because I'm not going to be able to do anything this weekend since it's Memorial Day weekend and I'm going to be busy. So I'm going to be reading the Danish Slaughterhouse, Chapter 6. Last we left off, Seelan got in trouble, and it was very uncomfortable. Just a friendly reminder that this is a blind reading, so please, no spoilers in the comments. Anyway, let's get started. In the dark, empty expanse of the cellar, the sounds of shuffling fabric, grunting and swearing echoed and bounced off the cold cement walls. The source of the noises, Matthias was busying himself with hoisting a nylon-wrapped, shapeless bundle over his shoulder without loosening the straps tied around the bundle to keep the cover in place. For some odd reason, the pieces and parts he placed within the wrap were a lot heavier than when they were still together as a whole body. What the, I'm gonna keep reading, which made sneaking them up the stairs and past the detection of his guests, especially Tino, an unnecessary challenge. He needed to keep this out of their eyes because if they were to see what he had, there would be a lot of questioning, and he doesn't want them to know. At least not yet. Once he miraculously reached the bottom step of the cellar, Matthias began the process of heaving his bundle upstairs, the heavy weight slowing his movements. Damn, how heavy can these pieces be? Oh my god, I nearly had a heart attack because I thought it was something else. Matthias wondered in frustration, is it because they're made of steel? He kicked the door open, wincing at the loud bang it made. He stood still and listened quietly. When he heard no footsteps or voices suggesting that someone woke up and wanted to investigate the sudden sound, he sighed in relief and continued on his way. Just as he was passing through the kitchen, the ties binding the straps around the bundle fell apart and the contents spilled out and tumbled across the kitchen tiles. Son of a bitch, Matthias hissed. He knelt down and quickly gathered the small parts, taking some time to wipe and pick off the coating of dried blood he missed. Oh no! He then placed them in the nylon blanket, rewrapped them, and retied the straps. He placed the bundle on his shoulder again and made his way to the door to go find a good hiding place. The harsh buzz of the alarm clock in the Oxenstiernia bedroom rang loudly as its digital numbers read 8:30. Aroused from his dreams, Tino sleepily reached over his husband to shut the alarm off. He then settled back in his sleeping spot, resting his head on Beryl's shoulder and tracing his finger along Beryl's jaw. He watched his sleeping husband with a smile, noticing with humor that he wore the championship belt he won from yesterday to bed. He flicked the little W on the belt's buckle, the rhinestones on it glittering in the morning light as it spun. When he was done playing with the belt, Tino sat up and stretched. Wow, I can't remember sleeping so well since we adopted Peter, he thought pleasantly. Then it hit him. Peter didn't come into their room last night like he usually would. Is Peter okay? Tino wondered. He quietly slipped out of bed to not disturb his husband and crept to the bedroom door. He walked across the hall to Peter's guest room and opened the door. Peter? He called quietly. He poked his head into the opening. Peter, are you okay? He looked at the pirate bed, the small male form missing from its disheveled sheets. Maybe he's in the bathroom. He quietly closed the door, or not quietly, gently. I'm sorry, I misread that. And hurried to the bathroom. He knocked on the door. When no answer came, he opened the door to find that it was empty too. He walked throughout the upper level, carefully opening doors so he wouldn't disturb the other sleeping Nordics, except the one door that Matthias kept locked, which the older nation secretly guessed was his room of secret pornography stash. After closing the final door with no sight of Peter, he took a deep, calming breath. Tino, it's okay, Tino said to himself. Peter's fine. He stood still for a moment, trying to calm his racing mind so it wouldn't fill with images of Peter hurt and bruised and alone and scared. Tino sprinted to his bedroom and burst through the door. He jumped on the bed on top of Beryl and shook Beryl violently. Beryl, wake up! Beryl! Beryl shot up at the sound of his husband shrieking. Reaching for his glasses on the bedside table, he yawned. Tino, what is wrong with you? Beryl, Peter's missing. What? Peter's missing. Tino, I doubt that. He is, Beryl. I checked all upstairs, in all the bedrooms, bathrooms, and even the closets. He's not in any of them. Did you check any of the rooms on the lower levels? Well, no. Good night, then. Beryl placed his glasses onto the table and slumped back on the bed. Beryl, no, this is serious, Tino cried, slapping his husband on the shoulder. Beryl sighed and sat back up, slipping his glasses over his eyes. We need to look for our son. Tino, what makes you think that he's in danger? He didn't come to wake us up last night like he usually does. Good point, but maybe he's maturing and doesn't need our constant care as much. People don't just mature overnight, Beryl, and this is Peter we're talking about. He's not going to grow up the way you baby him, Beryl blundered under his breath. Tino narrowed his eyes. Excuse me? Nothing. Let's go, Beryl said hurriedly. The two climbed off the bed and exited the bedroom, with Tino running in the lead, and in his haste he rammed himself into Emil, causing them both to fall to the ground. Ah, dude, Emil cried. What the hell, Tino? Sorry, Tino chatted as he stood up and pulled Emil to his feet. I'm sorry, I'm just in a rush. I'm really worried because Peter's gone and we can't find him anywhere, and I think he's hurt. And Beryl clamped a hand over Tino's mouth. We're looking for Peter because he didn't come into our room last night, he summed up. Right, Emil drawled. Tino, I really think you should calm down. I don't really see how Peter could get into any sort of peril. I mean, we're in an isolated mansion in the middle of a forest, so no one could really get us. And I don't think Peter would be stupid enough to go out into the forest by himself with the animals like bears and wolves out there. Tino pushed Beryl's hand off his mouth. I can't be sure that he's okay until I see him, Emil, he said with resolution. What's going on here? Lucas asked in a tired voice as he opened the door. He was rubbing his eyes and yawning, just waking up. Peter's missing and we're looking for him, Beryl said. Seriously? He was here yesterday. Where the hell can he go? I don't know, but I think that if we don't find him soon, Tino might blow a gasket. Not funny, Beryl, Tino pouted. I won't be able to go back to sleep if Peter's not found, will I? Lucas sighed. Beryl silently shook his head. Okay, fine. Let's go look for the little twerp then. Oh, thank you, Lucas, Tino cried, trapping Lucas into a grateful hug. Lucas roughly shoved him off. So, where did you look, Tino? Lucas inquired curtly, ready to get the search over with and go back to bed. I looked all over the second level and all the rooms he could be in, including the closets and bathrooms. He wasn't in any of them. Did you check the lower levels? No. Lucas rubbed the bridge of his nose and sighed heavily. Okay, fine. We can start searching downstairs, then. Come on. He led Tino and Beryl to the steps and stopped. That means you're too, Emil, he added without looking back. Emil groaned and stomped after them. Downstairs, they began their search for Peter, calling his name and threatening to hurt him or give him candy and toys if he came out. They looked in the guest bathrooms, closets, dining room, the recreation room Matthews dedicated to video games, and the gym they were in the other day, with no sign of the child. Just when they made their way to the kitchen to search there and in the cellar, Matthews came in through the back door, wearing camouflage cargo pants and vest over a black tank top. From his boots up to his knees, he was covered with caked mud and blood. What the actual, okay. Everyone stopped to look at him. What the heck is that? Lucas said, breaking the silence. Matthias looked down at his attire. Mud from heavy rain last night, he replied hesitantly. Lucas rolled his eyes. I mean, why are you dressed up like a military soldier wannabe that already killed... Whatever. Matthias, have you seen Peter? For a moment, the bright gleam in Matthias' eyes disappeared as his gaze became imperceptibly cloud over, his mind reverting to a memory of what had transpired the night before. Just as quickly as his mind faced back, his attention came back, none of the others noticing his mental lapse. I can't say that I have, Dorch, Matthias replied with a shrug. I was up all night and didn't see him at all. Why? Because they lost their brat, Emil said, jerking his thumb at Beryl in Tino's direction. Hey, we didn't lose Peter, Tino spat. We were just asleep and noticed that he didn't come to us in the middle of the night like he usually did. And he is not a brat. Keep calm and eat a salmiakki, Emil chuckled. Tino gaped at him. Did you just use a fucking meme? At a time like this, damn it, Emil, this is not a fucking joke. Everyone shut the hell up, Lucas shouted through gritted teeth. His eyes were bulging and his clenched fists were shaking. It's too damn early to give me a headache. Everyone went silent. Thank you. Now are you going to help us find Peter? I guess I can, Matthew said with uncertainty. But if you were heading down the cellar, I can tell you right now that he isn't in there. I was there earlier all by myself. Then there's only one place to look, Beryl stated. That is, if you're willing to let us look there, Matthias. Matthias tilted his head in confusion. What are you talking about? Your porno room. What do you mean my porno? Oh, you mean my private study. No, he couldn't be in there because it's locked. Hey, wait a minute. What makes you guys think I have porn in there? We just know. Well, you don't know because it's a legit study they use for all sorts of important stuff like paperwork and reading. And a guy like me can have his privacy without it being something perverted. Hey, did you know that 1 in 22 children who are left alone or missing die because of their parents' absence and lack of intervention? Tino asked, his sweet tone laced with sardonic impatience. Alright, fine. I'll take you guys up there, but I'm telling you that without my key, there's no way the little dude could get inside. Matthias led the other Nordics to the living room and up the stairs to his study. Fishing his key from his pocket, he unlocked the door and pushed it open. Inside the room, behind the desk, was Peter, curled up into a ball on the computer chair. He buried his face in his knees and had his arms wrapped around his legs. Judging from the soft, muffled sounds he was making, he was in a deep sleep. Whew! I actually thought something bad happened to him. Peter, Tino cried. He shoved Matthias out of the way and nearly trampled on him to get into the room. Matthias' head shot up, or not Matthias. What am I saying? Peter's head shot up and he gazed sleepily around him. When his eyes locked onto Tino, he jumped out of his seat and ran toward him. Mama, he said pleadingly, opening his arms for a hug. Tino squeezed him tightly, hugging Peter's head close to his chest. Darn it, Peter, where have you been? Tino said as he stroked his son's hair. I was worried sick. Jeez, Tino, he wasn't even gone for a full day, Matthias said. You're taking this mothering thing a bit too seriously. Matthias, don't test Tino, Beryl said in a warning tone. But it's true, Matthias. Shush, now, for your own good. Whatever, Matthias scoffed with an eye roll. Thank you, Beryl. Tino said. He didn't ask Peter. Sweetheart, what were you doing? Yeah, what the heck were you doing, Peter? Matthias interjected. He raised his arms and looked down at Peter with a hard glare. Come on, Peter. Tell your nice mommy what you did last night, he smirked inwardly. What the? I have a bad feeling about what happened last night. Peter stared back at Matthias, momentarily stunned into silence by the intensity hidden within the blue irises, as if he was a helpless bunny cornered by the big bad wolf he read in his books just before the kill. His mouth became dry, and all that came out was a small, I snuck in. Stuck in? How? I picked the lock. Why would you do that, Peter? Tino asked in his gentle, scolding voice. Did we not teach you to respect others' privacy and property? If your uncle didn't want any of us to be in here, then that's that. And what if I told you about picking locks? That's a burglar's trick, and I'm not raising you to be a burglar. Peter simply nodded in agreement. Yes, Mama, I know. I'm sorry. He suddenly felt very weak and tired. He just wanted to go back to sleep and rest his mind and not have the struggle of keeping the truth within him. That yes, he did sneak in knowing he shouldn't have, but didn't do anything wrong. At least he hoped he didn't. Did he? I just wanted to know what the big deal, what was the big deal, is all. His stomach twisted and his legs felt weakened, now not from kindness, but from that. Oh, no. Oh, I think what I'm thinking, I kind of know what happened, but I have a guess of what happened, and I think it did happen. Oh, no. I accidentally read ahead, and I actually want to cry. I was editing this, and I accidentally read ahead. I'm gonna keep reading. Tino sighed and shook his head in disapproval. Oh, Peter, what am I going to do with you? He took Peter's hand. Come on, I'll make some breakfast. Actually, Mama, I don't feel well. I just want to go to bed. Tino and Beryl exchanged glances. Oh, are you sure, sweetie? I'm sorry, my voice is going because I accidentally read ahead and I, honest to God, want to cry. Are you sure, sweetie? I was going to make some scrambled eggs with chocolate chip waffles and a side of tuna turkey, your favorites. It's okay, I just went to sleep. Beryl scooped Peter into his arms and carried him out, humming a lullaby into his ear as Peter rested his cheek on Beryl's shoulder. As they all filed out of the room, Matthews chimed, "Oh yeah, guys, I got a surprise bro bonding activity for you." He closed the door and locked it as the chorus of annoyed groans and "It's too early" was heard from the men. This is what I accidentally read ahead to, and oh my god, I think this is gonna fuck me up. None of the others took notice of the sticky pink spot, the mixture of red innocent blood and white predatory semen puddled in the middle of the study's carpet. I'm tempted to age restrict this video. I'm honest to God tempted to age restrict this video. God. I don't even know what to think about that. That is so disturbing. It's not even an actual scene where it happened, but just seeing that, oh my god. I'm terrified for what's coming next. Out in the forest that expanded from behind the mansion, Tino, Beryl, Emil, and Lucas stood among the trees, donning the same camouflage uniform that Matthias was wearing. After settling Peter into bed and having their breakfast, Matthias shoved these clothes into their arms and ordered them to dress in them. He then led them outside to the spot and ran off with a giddy grin, shouting, "I'm coming back to get your surprise, don't leave," over his shoulder. He's been gone for almost half an hour, and now that everything was settled and everyone had their breakfast, they were all getting sleepy again. "Ugh, tired," Emil moaned, resisting the urge to lay his head on Lucas's shoulder and fall asleep as so. "I know, Emil, I know," Lucas replied empathetically, using half of his low energy to stay awake and the other half to hope that Emil would rest his head on Lucas's shoulder like he used to as a toddler. He then wondered aloud, "Where's Matthias already? My legs are falling asleep." "I swear, if he snuck back to his room to get some sleep while leaving us out here, I'm going to..." Beryl was interrupted himself with a yawn. "No worries, dude. I'm back," Matthias boomed from the mass of trees. "And I got the most kick-ass surprise for you all." He materialized and looked muddier than ever, dragging a huge forest green nylon pack by the straps wrapped around it. This was covered in mud and dead vegetation, as if covered by the coating up for concealment. He swung it so it sat in front of his feet. "What is that?" Lucas pointed at the pack. "The best component to the best bonding ever. That's what it is," Matthias cheered. He knelt down and undone the straps ties, and he unwrapped the items inside it, smiling proudly to himself as the others gasped in amazement. "Matthias?" Tino stammered in awe. "Are those?" "Yeah, they are. Official T-20 semi-automatic rifles." Matthews took pieces of the weapon and put them together, creating a long, bulky steel rifle. He turned it in his hands, admiring the sleek body that was coiled in the palm of his hands. "Aren't they just beautiful? Almost puts tears to my eyes." "Indeed they are," Tino squealed. He knelt and eagerly reached for the bundle of rifle parts, but large hands grabbed his wrist. "Hey!" He shot a glare at Beryl, who stood behind him, and shook his head disapprovingly. "What are you doing?" "Trying to keep us all safe." "Haha, Beryl, very funny. Let's stop the trigger-happy psycho from getting guns before he shoots everyone dead." "Knock it off, Beryl, okay?" He tried to yank his wrist free. "Beryl, let go. Seriously." "Sorry, love, but I don't feel like dying today," Beryl said as he tightened his grip on Tino's wrist. "Beryl, I'm serious." "So am I." He began to pull Tino away from the rifle parts. "Let me go." "No." "Ah, you're hurting my wrists." While the husbands broke out into a yelling fight, with Tino doing all of the yelling and Beryl calmly ignored the protest, Lucas pulled out a rectangular barrel and examined it. The ruby-encrusted phoenix on the side gleamed bright red and light. "These are real," Lucas observed. "What are we going to do with military rifles?" Duh. We're going to hunt," Matthias said as he looked through the crosshairs and aimed at Lucas. He then yanked the barrel up, making a bang sound to imitate a gunshot. "You know, I didn't make a Eurovision joke, but there was a really good chance for me to make a Eurovision joke. Eurovision 2019 joke in my last video, so I'm gonna do it now. Wanna know my secret? Bang. I know Ukraine withdrawn, but still, I am salty about that. Siren Song would have done good. Lucas rolled his eyes at the act. So we're going to kill deer and stuff with these? Yep, these babies right here have a high capacity load, so reloading won't be a hassle, and the crosshairs magnify up to 200 times. You can make an accurate shot at the prey's eyeball. How cool is that? It's pretty neat, Lucas said absent-mindedly, still examining the barrel. But why didn't you get these simple hunting rifles or sniper rifles if you really wanted to be extravagance? If you really wanted extravagance, okay, I read that wrong. I mean, this stuff looks seriously expensive. He brought the barrel closer to his eye and scraped his finger on the dried spot. And is this blood? Vash gave these to me when he heard that I was moving, Matthias replied. These were his home-warming gifts. He even got his little sister to put the awesome ruby phoenixes on each of them. And yeah, it's blood. I was testing them out to see if they're as effective as they look on a big burly bear that was chasing me, and let me tell ya, Vash did not disappoint. I mean, the bullets' penetrations were so fierce that blood and guts were splattered everywhere. Man, it was cool. You were chased by a bear. Yeah, wouldn't you believe it? I guess I was just too close to his den or something when I was hiding these outside and he got pissed. Too bad he was all roar and no bite when he faced this. He pat the rifle affectionately. Hey, dude, put your rifle together and let's go. Emil, you. Emil? Amidst the gun appreciation between Lucas and Matthias and the marital sparring still going on between Beryl and Tino, Emil walked off to an area away from the group and retreated to his musical world, eyes closed and head bobbing to the song that was blasting in his eardrum. Irritated by the inattentive teen, Matthias picked up a barrel and shot it at Emil. The pebble hit Emil's forehead and actually knocked his head back. Emil yanked his earbuds out and glared at Matthias. Glad you're back from the dead, Ice, Matthias shouted before Emil could start ranting. That actually kind of reminds me of when I used to wake up, like, really late in the morning, and my dad would be like, it's alive! Anyway, Matthias shouted before Emil could start ranting. Come here, you need to put together your rifle. For what? And why should I? Emil rubbed his forehead where the pebble hit him. He winced at the pain sensation forming there. We're going to hunt some animals, dude, for some quality time together. Now get your ass over here and get your rifle. Grumbling obscenities and complaints to himself, Emil stomped over to the two men and knelt down next to them. He put the parts of his rifle together and stood up, holding the weapon in his hands as if ready for the next command. After Lucas assembled his own rifle and helped Matthias calm Tino and Beryl long enough to have them do the same, the group huddled together to listen to Matthias's instructions. Okay, guys, so here's what we're going to do. We'll break off into the trees and search for animals by ourselves for 3 hours. Then we'll come back for a break, maybe even a shower if you're too girly to handle a little mud. He took a quick glance at Lucas, and then come back in at 6 when the animals decide to call it a night. Whoever brings in the best catch gets to decide tonight's dinner. And break! The Nordics split off and went in different directions into the trees, Beryl keeping sure to stay as close to Tino's position as possible without being seen by him, and they all went out to hunt. Everyone except Emil, that is. Emil took advantage of the newfound solitude to return to his music. He reinserted his earbuds, turned the volume up as high as possible, and began strolling slowly through the trees. He hummed the song he was listening to, occasionally muttering the lyrics to himself as he kicked at the grass and pebbles below his feet. After walking out in the distance for an hour, Matthias finally found a good grassy area to hide in from his prey. The prey he had been following was a good few yards away from his position, and he was able to spot him easily among the shadows of the trees. His prey was blissfully unaware of his presence, and Matthias was so giddy that the urge to just end his life with a quick shot to the head was growing stronger. But he controlled that urge. It wasn't time yet. He slowly lowered himself into the thick grass, propped himself up on his shoulders, nested the rifle's butt against his shoulders, and looked into the crosshair. The prey's slender legs came into view, and Matthias smirked, pulling the trigger. Still peacefully strolling through the forest, Emil looked around at the treetops and appreciated the fresh green leaves hanging from them. He smiled at the birds nesting in the branches, the mother regurgitating food into her chicks' cheap, chirping beaks. That's so nice. Then he felt a couple of sharp pinches around his ankles and in the front and back. Whoa, what the? He looked down at his legs and noticed that his boot was quickly soaking in the front and back, and his blood pouring from holes in his boot. Oh no! Oh no! This is bad. Far away into the trees, Lucas was having a quick conversation with some new Danish fairies he met along his walk when he heard 2 gunshots ring out in the air. Ah, I wonder who made a kill, he thought. A few minutes later, an unhuman "Ah!" boomed out. Oh my goodness, what was that? Lucas immediately sprang into action, sprinting and zigzagging through the trees, following the sound of Emil's cries. 10 minutes later, Lucas found Matthias at Emil. Matthias was kneeling next to Emil and hovering his hands over Emil as if he was confused as to what to do to help, and Emil was curled up on the grass, clutching his ankle tightly. Blood was seeping through his fingers. Oh my goodness, what the hell happened? Lucas shouted as he dropped next to his brother. He began to rip off a piece of his tank top to tie it tightly around Emil's ankle. I don't know, Matthias shrieked. I think I shot him. You what? I'm sorry. I thought that Emil was a deer, and how the fuck can you mistake a teenager for a deer? It was hard to see clearly from where I was, and Emil's wearing brown boots, and his legs were long, and I didn't see his upper body. Matthias, just shut up, Lucas snarled. Come on and carry him to the house so we can get him to the hospital. Right. Matthew stood up and picked Emil up into his arms. He and Lucas began running into the direction towards the mansion. Lucas panted calm words to Emil. The 3 met up with Beryl and Tino along the way as they too ran to investigate the sudden scream. Upon seeing Emil's state, they made some closely accurate guesses as to what happened and ran beside them. Oh my god, it hurts! It hurts! Emil sobbed. Tears heavily choked his cheeks. You're going to be fine soon. It'll be okay, little bro, Lucas assured, brushing away the tears. But he didn't feel so sure about that when he saw his brother slowly lose consciousness. Alright, well, that's that. God, I don't even know what to think of this chapter. I'm actually scared for what's coming next. I'm genuinely terrified. Anyway, I will see you guys next time when I read the next chapter of my old Hitalia fan fiction, which might take a while to come out, but I promise that it will come out. So, yeah. I hope you guys have a good day /evening /whatever.